About identifying and assessing learner diversity in the classroom, similar to what Brandon was talking about minutes ago. I deal with some stereotypes, but what I've been dealing with mainly is socioeconomic status of the classroom. So I want to go ahead and start off with a little bit of information about socioeconomic status, and I want to give you two illustrations of socioeconomic status in the world. So, yeah, it's hard to advertise. Sorry, I didn't know.
I was going to do that.
Got me engaged.
Presentation.
I'm not ready to say
How do I reach these
My name is Clarice Precious Jones. I want to be on the cover of the magazine. I wish I had a light-skinned boyfriend with real nice hair. But first I want to be on one of them BET videos.
You're a dummy, don't nobody want you, don't nobody need you. School ain't gonna help none. Take your ass down to the welfare.
You're 16, you're still in junior high school, and you're pregnant with your second child.
What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about home? But you're gonna have to talk to somebody if you want your check, sweetie.
Precious, I'm hungry. You better put some food in that frying pan.
My favorite color is purple. I sing well, and I'm here because I like to teach.
I'm Joanne. My favorite color is fluorescent beige, and I'm here to get my GED.
Aries, something you do well.
Nothing.
Everybody's good at something.
That's the first one. That's the first illustration of socioeconomic status. I've got one more illustration for you.
To the home of the richest.
Hell yeah.
Of Richie Rich.
Well, Richie dear, liver is rich in protein. It's very good for you. It's so tasty too.
He has his own baseball coach.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
A theme park.
Man, it must be cool to have everything.
And even a personal trainer.
My name is Connie. Yikes.
He had everything a boy could want.
You have your own McDonald's?
Except for one thing he wanted the most.
I'm wondering if you guys come in and should get, hang out. Hang out?
Friends.
Maybe I can play with you guys.
So, go ahead and pull out your sheet of paper that I had out earlier. So, I want everyone to write down what were some of the issues that the two main characters in the illustrations we just saw were dealing with. So, there was the main character, Precious, in the first video, and then there was the main character, Richie Rich, in the other video. So, what were some of the issues that the two of them were dealing with? So, you have about 2 minutes to jot down here. Try to write down about 3 ideas for each main character if you can. looks like everybody has some ideas written down. Everybody ready? Take some Matt. Tell me what if one of the issues dealing with Richie? What was one thing?
Rejected by his peers.
Okay, rejected by his peers.
Or misunderstood in some
Misunderstood. Okay, all right, that's good. Can you tell me something else about Richie?
Kind of the money and status kind of isolate him from others.
Okay, so he didn't interact with other people very well.
Yeah.
Or didn't have the ability to interact with other kids. What else can you say about Richie?
He had a lack of personal contact with his parents, and he had a lack of direction in life. He had every opportunity in the world, but where do you go with it?
It's interesting. Okay. Good.
I had all the comic books.
Okay. Okay. So what could you tell me, Katie, about Precious and some of the issues that she was dealing with?
Well, she didn't have any confidence in herself or her future.
Okay. No confidence. Great. So what can you tell me about Precious?
Physically and psychologically abusive mother.
Okay. Abusive parents. Katie, what can you tell me about Precious?
Everybody else was disinterested in her problems. They didn't care why she was doing badly in school and stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, those are great, wonderful perceptions and what these two main characters were dealing with. What we saw in those two videos was illustrations of low economic status and high economic status. Again, we had Richie, who had, of course, a lot of money, and then Precious, who obviously was dealing with money issues, family issues at home, and the two being at low socioeconomic status. So, what are the factors, as y'all illustrated, that affect socioeconomic status as it applies to learning? So, we talked about basic needs and experiences. So, Precious was dealing with what type of basic need was Precious dealing with? Anybody?
Just how am I going to get to tomorrow?
Okay. I'm going to get to tomorrow. Great.
Survival.
Yeah, survival. Absolutely.
In general.
Yeah, just like any of the basic needs. Like look at Richie. I think about what's that?
Direction in life.
Direction. Yeah.
Affection.
Affection. Right. You know, Richie's. What was an illustration of affection that Richie had that Precious didn't have?
The mom.
The mom. Perfect. Wonderful. Anything else? As far as the basic needs and experiences?
Food.
Food, wonderful. Yeah, food is great. Precious was what was Precious doing in the video?
Cooking groceries.
She was cooking. What was Richie doing with the food that he had? Feeding it to the dog, right? Yeah. That's interesting. And we talked about parental involvement. Right? We addressed the parental involvement issue. What about attitudes and values? What type of attitude did Precious have towards learning?
She thought that it was impossible for her to learn. And she pretty much thought she was a failure and was going to collect welfare checks for the rest of her life.
Right.
So, I mean,
And as a result, she was very unengaged.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So when the teacher asked her about what she did well, what did she say?
Nothing.
She said she did nothing well, right? Which is really, yeah.
She grew up in an environment where she was never told that she did anything well, so she didn't know if she did or not.
Right. So you can see how those two socioeconomic illustrations really affected the learning on both sides, right? So, what does the research tell us, other than, we can go to Hollywood and see what they tell us about socioeconomic status and learning, but what does actual research tell us about how students with low or high socioeconomic status learn in the classroom? In 2003, Arnold and Doctoroff reported that very few low socioeconomic status students go on to pursue well-paying careers in math and technology. Just like we saw in the Precious video, she didn't want to apply herself in the classroom. She didn't think she did anything well. And research backs that up. They also found that 19% of children have pre-literacy skills when entering kindergarten, when compared to the rest of their classmates, due to that low socioeconomic status.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay.
I have a signal down here. I'll read it.
All right. So schools servicing low socioeconomic status students receive much lower public funding than schools servicing higher socioeconomic status children, which means low socioeconomic status kids don't get as much of the opportunities that maybe these higher socioeconomic status kids get. You can see that Richie was fencing, right, at his school, correct? So he had the opportunity to do things that maybe Precious didn't have the opportunity to do.
You do it with a switchblade in my school.
What?
You do it with a switchblade.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. So some of the factors leading to the inability of low socioeconomic status performance include negative stereotypes, as Taylor talked about, Brandon talked about in his previous talk. Lack of interest, as we saw in the Precious video, she wasn't interested in learning, and values and peer influences. So your peers have a lot to do with how you apply yourself in the classroom and how you learn in the classroom. Another research study performed in 2000 by Singh and Osor found that students who worked when they were in high school had a significant negative, if they did work, it had a significant negative effect on the science classes that they took while they were in high school. So they were less likely to take science and mathematics courses. The same trend was shown in mathematics students. It was concluded that more students work in high school, the more the students work in high school, the more likely they are to not complete a science or a mathematics course. And as we talked about before with the statistics, this statistic was shown with a p-value less than 0.15, so it was statistically significant that these students, if they worked, would not go and work or take science and mathematics classes. So if Precious was working, if she was doing something, and you can see that she was pregnant, she had children, she was obviously doing something that may cause her not to want to take courses that would help her to excel her education and learn in the classroom. So based upon the research that, those two research papers, and the information that I gave you about socioeconomic status, what can we do to effectively teach low socioeconomic status students? So one thing would be to become actively involved with our students. Learn about what's going on at home. Learn about how, what's going on with their family life. See how they view their peers. See if they're interested in interacting with learning. As we saw in the Precious video, what would you take from what the teacher was doing with Precious? Was she effectively teaching Precious or not effectively teaching Precious? Was she actively engaging? Was she actively engaging and involved with Precious? Was she asking her about the things she likes? Whether she was actually interested in learning? Absolutely. So we have to make learning interesting. As in the previous research, they found that students who come from low socioeconomic status homes are not interested in learning due to the type of lifestyle they have outside the classroom. We would need to communicate with parents when students are struggling in the classroom to try and see what's going on at home, if they're dealing with abuse, like we saw in the Precious video, or maybe if they come from high socioeconomic status homes, if they're dealing with issues such as not being able to make friends with those students, and therefore it's affecting their learning in the classroom. And we need to encourage students to pursue science and mathematics courses and not work the late shift down at McDonald's. Okay?
Why hate on McDonald's? Why hate on the late shift?
I just use McDonald's as an example. But research has shown if students work a part-time job, they are less likely to actually go on and pursue a career in science and mathematics. Yes?
Quick question. On the last, I don't know how well it's enforced, but aren't there child labor laws for, it's super late, I don't know how late it is.
I mean, you can't work past a certain time,
Okay,
but with, But in that specific research I was talking about, they dealt with 12th grade students, and as far as I know, they can do whatever they want.
Okay.
And at that point, if they've already gotten into a routine of working, they're going to keep on doing that. And what they did in that research article was they looked at students at 10th grade and at 12th grade. So they followed them to see if they kept on with that same pattern if they were working in the 10th grade.
Okay.
Regardless of what time they're working, they're still not having time if they're working immediately after school like I did.
Right.
To do homework, to do their reading.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I worked a part-time job, and there were a lot of classes that I didn't take because of the fact that I was working so much and I was tired. You don't really aren't interested in taking classes that cause you to work a lot outside of class, and so the research has shown that working causes students not to want to take these harder classes. So we need to try and encourage students not to work part-time jobs, or if they do, try and see how it affects their coursework and try and keep track of those students who are working part-time jobs. Okay? So, I want to thank you and remind you, only you can prevent low socioeconomic status students from learning math and science. Okay? And here's just a list of the 2 articles that I used in this research. So, thank you very much.